Welcome to a tutorial video on Twine 2.3. In this video, I'm going to talk about displaying passages in Harlowe 3. One of the most useful macros to learn in Harlowe is the display macro. In use, it displays another passage. What this means in practice, however, is that content and code can be broken up into different parts and then displayed together. For example, this entire paragraph is actually 3 different passages. Let's go look at that. So we see here actually 3 different passages. Right here in the beginning passage, we see this initial sentence, and then the first use of the display macro, and then a second use of the display macro. Right here it displays second. So let's go look at second. Second is the next sentence in order. So then we come back to start, and we display third. Third is the third sentence in order. So we see here a very useful demonstration of how to use the display macro. For example, if we wanted to break up content among different passages, if we needed somehow complex stuff or sections we wanted to pull in at different moments, maybe descriptions of a ship in a sci-fi setting or description of a forest in a fantasy setting that might occur again and again, something that might repeat, the display macro gives us a very useful way to do that. We can write some text and then we can just use the display macro to show it whenever we need that. Common descriptions of things within a more textual environment, and we can even use it for code as well. For example, if there were multiple uses of macros I wanted, maybe to change some fonts, or change some settings, or change some layouts, I could put it within a passage and then use the display macro to call it to then display that passage. This is amazingly powerful within Harlowe. This allows to, as I mentioned, break up our content and our code into multiple different passages. It also allows us to test things individually. So, for example, if I had code within second, I could test this, look at it, make sure it works, and then come back and then display it in another passage. So it really helps with debugging as well. We can break up different things into parts or modules, test them individually, and then use the display macro to then display those passages in other passages, building a very complex system of things, but based on small parts that can be easily tested or spell checked, or where the writing can change. Instead of changing one single gigantic passage, we could change a bunch of small passages in different ways, and like I said, it's especially useful for repeating phrasing within a more textual story, or repeating code for mechanics that might repeat and again and again. Thanks for watching.